What's up, fam? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. So in today's video, I want to get into a Twitter exchange I had with sporting news writer Mike Courcey, and I'm going to put a link in the description below to a column he wrote claiming that Saquon Barkley should be the Heisman Trophy winner. We had words, fam. Low key though, who picks an argument with a guy who wants to be an English professor? I mean, arguing is kind of what I do. Does he know he can't win? Does he know that I just live to argue? Well, obviously not, because he argued with me and he lost. I want to talk about Rodney Anderson and whether or not he should jump to the NFL at the conclusion of this season. But before we get to that, I have to say again, I was blown away by the support shown to me on the live stream. You guys saw me get really emotional, and I appreciate you being there. I look forward to making these videos, and I'm so glad that you look forward to watching them. Alright, if this is your first time here or you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider liking and subscribing and ring the bell so you don't ever miss a video and you know exactly when we have live streams. Alright, bumper.
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
Alright, look here, fam. Look, I'm cutting up today's video, and I'm like 2 hours from it, but I saw the Big 12 Player of the Year awards, the first team, and yeah, Baker Mayfield Offensive Player of the Year because, well, you can't take it from him. Alright? Cool. I'm on board with that. I'm on board with Orlando Brown, Eric Rand first team. Yes, Kenneth Murray. I love you, fam. You're going to be an all-star. You're going to be the truth in 2 years. Started every game in middle linebacker. I love it. DJ Ward, second team. I love it. But my God, how do you not make Baker Mayfield a unanimous... Pressure points. What? How can you not make him? Baker Mayfield was not a unanimous selection to the all-Big 12 first team. I don't know what football this conference has been watching or who they've been watching, but my goodness, okay, my goodness, how do you not make Baker Mayfield the unanimous first team all Big 12 quarterback, okay? And then you leave off CeeDee Lamb on the second team, and then Marquise Brown, and then you telling me Rodney Anderson couldn't start for the all Big 12 second team? I don't care about honorable mentions. Honorable this, son. I wasn't planning to talk about this. Hoosa. But as you can see, I got a temper, and the disrespect. Bobby Evans can't make a second team on this. Woosa. It's a theme. It's the narrative this year. All right? We're going to have to win the whole thing. We're going to have to win the whole thing. We're getting disrespect from the conference we own. 7 Offensive Player of the Year awards. 3 consecutive from this conference. Rename it. There's only one conference. Because we prop it up. And you going to show us this kind of disrespect in our own conference? Man, miss me with that. All right, on to the next segment. Can you smell what the Sooner Savage is cooking? You know, the Sooner Savage was having a normal breakfast. You know, scooping, eating nails, brushing my teeth with Jack, how one does. When the Sooner Savage came across an article by one Mike Courcey. Now, Mike Courcey writes college hoops for the Sporting News. So he could be forgiven. He could be forgiven for not knowing Baker Mayfield is the Heisman Trophy winner. Yet, Mike Courcey goes out of his way to write a column that had to grab the Sooner Savage's attention. Now, the Sooner Savage will concede Saquon Barkley is a great college football player. The Sooner Savage respects Saquon Barkley and what he's done for the sport of college football. But Saquon Barkley does not deserve the Heisman Trophy. This is what Mike Courcey thought to write in his column. Now, because the Sooner Savage rides for the OU insignia, his first response was, oh, hell no. Yet, the college football fan and the Sooner Savage wanted to read Mike Courcey's argument. And it turns out the Sooner Savage has done you a service because you don't have to read that poppycock. Now the crux of Mike Courcey's argument centers around Saquon Barkley being a dynamic football player, being an unpredictable football player, being the kind of football player that teams have to game plan to stop the Penn State Nittany Lions. Conceded, Mike. Stipulated, Mike. But nobody in the history of college football has been as efficient as Baker Mayfield. 6 so sad. Has done nothing more than complete 70% of his passes, thrown for at least 2 touchdowns in 38 straight college football games. He threw for nearly 600 yards against a top 10 opponent. He beat the bricks off of a top 10 TCU. He mollywopped, skull dragged, and planted the flag on Ohio State in a 31-16 win over a top 5 Buckeyes team that mollywopped and skull dragged the Penn State Nittany Lions, for which SAQUON Barkley is the running back. So as you can see from these tweets I exchanged with one Mike Courcey, that his only rebuttal was that Baker Mayfield had only done one incredible thing all year long. And you know the Sooner Savage couldn't let that slide. He could let slide the comparison to Mason Rudolph in Stillwater, who is winless against Baker Mayfield and the Sooners, but he could not let slide that Baker Mayfield is not more exciting than SAQUON Barkley. Do you remember the 4th down play against Kansas that only Baker Mayfield could have made? But I get it, Mike Courcey. You want to give the trophy for the most outstanding football player in college football to a man you have to game plan to stop. Well, here's the kicker there, Mike. They stopped SAQUON Barkley twice. You believe the 11 teams that Baker Mayfield has beat this year did not game plan to stop Baker Mayfield? And the one loss that the Sooners have, Baker Mayfield didn't get stopped. All he did was have a normal 300-yard efficient passing game and continue his streak of at least 2 touchdown passes in every game he's played for the last 38. You want to talk about top 25 wins? Baker Mayfield has 3, Mike Courcey. SAQUON Barkley has 2. And you must really love having a top 25 win against a Northwestern football team. Big Ten Giants up there, I'm told. So that you would even write this kind of a column speaks to the agenda you have set against 6-0 Savage, even conceding he will win the Heisman Trophy in 2017, and we have dusted off a 6th spot for the 6th Heisman Trophy winner at the University of Oklahoma. Do not bring Kool-Aid to a gin party. So what I'm saying to you, Mike Courcey, is if you want to come at 6-0 Savage, at Baker Mayfield, at the Sooner Nation,
you better come correct.
So I read a story in the Tulsa World by Cody Stavenhagen about the NFL comparisons Rodney Anderson is drawing within the OU locker room and among his coaches. And earlier this week, I made a video where Lincoln Riley had said that as far as versatility goes, Rodney Anderson may be more versatile than Joe Mixon because he's more powerful. But also, if you look at the numbers, the Joe Mixon comparison with Rodney Anderson holds up. Through the final 6 games of the regular season, Joe Mixon had rushed for 795 yards and picked up 275 yards receiving. If you look at Rodney Anderson's last 6 games, he rushed for 785 yards and 256 yards receiving. So the comparison is there, but it's also funny to think about because it almost seems like Rodney Anderson came out of nowhere. And he kind of sort of did. But when he did assert himself at the midpoint of the season, he's taken that tailback position and made it his own. He's rushed for 100 yards in 5 of the last 6 games OU's played. And he's quickly become the most dangerous running back in the Big 12. Now, you know I'm a big fan of Rodney Anderson's because the kid fought back from a broken leg and a broken neck. And it's strange to think he's just a redshirt sophomore because it feels like he's been here longer. But as a redshirt sophomore, he's also draft eligible. And I have said all along, and I continue to believe this, Rodney Anderson should go to the NFL if he can get drafted in the first 3 rounds. I genuinely believe that. The shelf life of a running back in the NFL is a negative number. I mean, the adage is, mamas don't let your boys grow up to be running backs because you feel like you can pick them up almost anywhere. And you feel like one will go out just as soon as the other one comes in. So if I'm Rodney Anderson and I'm looking at what my career has been like from a health standpoint, and I'm looking at this aristea that I'm having right now, if I can get a good draft grade back from the NFL for the early draft, for the guys that want to go early, I'm going. I don't want to stick around. I'll pick up my education at some other time, get my OU diploma. But for now, go get paid, Rodney. I mean, that just seems like the right move for him and the right move for OU because we want that kid to succeed, and I don't want him to take another chance of getting hurt when he could have been playing in the NFL and getting paid like a professional to do what he loves to do. We're going to have a new podcast up, Fire Mike Stoops the podcast, with Mama, where she's telling really embarrassing stories about me and being in labor and talking about who the best OU quarterback is.